It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Mr. Magoo, and this is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, March the 6th. Blind as a bat, flying blind over here. But we're back now. We're all here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we are off and running. Okay, quick disclaimer. Had a little procedure yesterday on my eyes, and I can see fine if I'm wearing these special glasses. And within a couple of days, I'm going to be bright as rain, brand new, better than ever. Yeah. But I hit a weird button, and this is all on me. just magooing my way through the morning. Good
this
Lord,
will be a lot of fun. I do that all the time, but you're the first mic in, as they say, and that's when it's noticeable. Normally, I'm just laughing, and you guys are thinking, "What the hell is he laughing about?" Because I'm about 7 seconds off. Those buttons, they're making them smaller and smaller. I think.
All I know is on the way in this morning, every street light has a giant ring around it. Every light I see has a ring around it. My eyes are still dilated from yesterday's procedure, and I wasn't driving, of course, but I was just sitting there going, "Man, it's been a long time since I've been tripping." This is just like when the acid's coming on, if memory serves.
You should listen to the voicemail you left me last night.
Oh, really? Did I?
You confessed your love to Zepp. And, I'm just kidding.
It's only getting better. I want a pair of these glasses.
Man,
are they rose-colored? I tell you what. It reminds me of an old documentary I was watching on the Oakland Raiders many years ago, and one of the players would say that John Madden, the head coach at that time, always had this weird saying, and I've used it a couple of times, and when I tried to coach when I was younger, no one gets it, but it sure got the team fired up, and that is, "Don't worry that the mule is blind, just load the wagon." And that's kind of what we're going with this morning.
I like it. All right. We're going to load the wagon with some Minnesota Wild tickets. We're going to give those away in a couple hours. I do believe my buddy Dean Delray, great comics, going to call in the last hour of the day. In between now and then, a lot of great stuff to get into, including a properly run radio clock. This is a great day. We're back. We've got it figured out. We are on track. We're approaching fourth gear. Please stay with us. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Okay, then. We've all been in hotels or motels or Airbnbs or Verbos, which I called VRBO for years. We've all been places where we're staying for the night. You get into a bed. I hope the sheets are clean. You get into a bed. You think, I hope the pillow's comfortable. And eventually you fall asleep. You wake up and you pretend it didn't happen. You just get a shower and you get out of there and you hope you're okay and you didn't get a communicable disease. Whatever goes through your mind, something usually does. I tell you what never has ever gone through my mind, which is, I hope when I get into this bed, what happened to a gentleman in Las Vegas at the Venetian happened. We'll let him explain what went down.
I just felt like somebody stabbing me in my private area. I went to the restroom and I saw a scorpion. Everybody wasn't shocked. I mean, nobody believed. Even I couldn't believe it.
Scorpion. Private area. Let's go ahead and just cut to the chase. Scorpion, genitals, stinger, serious pain.
Ouch.
Damn.
And by the way, photos to prove it. There's a photo of his drawers with a scorpion attached. This gentleman, this was in December. He wakes up at the Venetian in very, very serious pain, immediately finds an orange scorpion in his front office, if you will. Says it felt like somebody stabbing him with a sharp glass or a knife.
Yeah.
Went down, by the way, ran into the bathroom, took his clothes, checked out that day, told the hotel they comped the room. Oh, isn't that nice?
Thank you.
Went to the hospital. They confirmed, yes, that's a scorpion sting. And while he's made a full physical recovery, he's a little traumatized. And he's thinking about maybe he needs a little something more than a free room. If I give him the hotel. How about that? Just hand him the keys to an entire hotel resort casino.
Come on, you sign a piece of paper when you go in there. The Venetian, by the way, said their response, it's a good idea to always inspect a hotel room and its surrounding areas upon checking in.
Well, of course, the Venetian, they're going, if the worst thing that happened in our hotel was you got stung by a scorpion, consider yourself lucky, bub.
Right, exactly.
Bub.
It's better than herpes, You're gonna recover. You're gonna be okay. I mean, yeah, I was bitten by, I assume it was a spider one night in a hotel. No big deal, but it was on the shoulder and it stung me and I woke up and I was like, son of a gun. And it starts itching and it's a welt. And now there's a spider in my bed or something in my bed bit me. So I'm going through the bed. I turn on all the lights and I whatever, put the boom on the calf. It gets me again about 2 minutes later. I'm like, all right. So I had to get out of the bed, sleep on the couch at the hotel. Never did find that little sucker, but you never know with things like this. I'm looking at this guy. Have you seen a picture of him? He looks shady. He looks like a mobster wannabe. Did he bring the scorpion in with him and then thought it might sting him somewhere else? No, you're right. You wouldn't take it on the Johnson.
You never know. I mean, like you said, he could be the kind of guy who's like, just I like cavalry and I take scorpions wherever I go.
Right? Yeah,
you never know when you're going to need a scorpion attack. Rosemary got a big spider bite, several on her leg when we were on vacation once, and they swelled up pretty quickly. It wasn't like something happened. I mean, it was like all of a sudden she's like, hey, something's weird with my leg, and within a few minutes we've got like 3 bites in a row. And we went to the little clinic on this island, and they were like, oh, it's a good thing you got here as soon as you did, because this is a bite from I've already forgotten the name of the spider, and this will destroy the tissue if you don't treat it immediately. And we were like, hey, isn't that fun? We weren't at a resort or a hotel. We were actually just in a house we'd rented, so it wasn't quite the same as going to the concierge and going, do something. We were kind of on our own, and thankfully took care of it, because the guy said, no, if this thing went untreated for a day, like you'd start losing a lot of skin. I mean, it would collapse. Yeah, it was crazy. Things like that can happen, I suppose. I think about all the times. We were in where was it? Redback. There's a spider in Australia called a redback, I think. And it's like their brown recluse or black widow. It's a venomous spider. And we were in Perth, and there was a big dust storm coming across. And the news at the time was there's like a cloud of redback spiders being blown into town.
Oh, through the air?
Through the air,
Yeah.
like by the tens of thousands. And we were in a taxi, and the guy was going, oh, yeah, they blow in every now and again. You got to look out. You want to stay inside when that's coming up. And I'm like, this is Australia. You have every venomous snake on the planet. You got great white sharks. You got box jellyfish. You have spider storms.
Hell.
Punching kangaroos.
Yeah.
What part of this didn't let someone know, no, this is not where you're supposed to live?
Yeah, that's why the English dropped off the convicts there.
Exactly. That is exactly what it was. I've never made a secret of the fact that I got a snake problem, which is essentially this. Snakes exist, and I have a problem. Not a fan. A woman in Phoenix, since we're out in the desert Southwest, found a rattlesnake in the backseat of her car, and it dawned on her she'd probably been driving around with it for a couple of weeks. She looks into, she lives in Phoenix, parks her car in a lot of desert areas, must have slithered in, but she says she never heard it rattle. She and her boyfriend were in her car, and he looked over and saw it in the back seat. And it was a diamondback rattlesnake.
Oh, yeah. One of the good ones.
One of the real good ones. They were parked when her boyfriend discovered it. They opened all the doors. He got a big tree branch and was able to shove it out of the car. But, you always hear about this because snakes get into cars kind of, every often enough. You know what I mean? It's not that uncommon to hear a snake slithered into a car just looking for a place to get out of the sun or, as the case may be, into the sun. She says she's checking under her seats before she drives now. See, I feel... if I found a snake in my car, I would feel a lot of things, but one of them would be a great disappointment because I'm convinced I can sense the presence of a snake within 100 yards at all times. I just am completely told myself I have a radar, a snake dar. And if a snake got into my car without me knowing it, I would rethink a whole lot about the way I live my life.
They don't even need rattles around you. You know.
Oh
when
God,
there's a diamondback in there.
No, I'm on snake alert 247. I see snakes that aren't there. So
what are you, Harry Potter? Jeez Louise. You know how to speak in snake language?
I'm just saying that I don't. This is what I'm saying.
Just learned something about Harry Potter.
Yeah, really.
You can summon snakes. And,
Right. Exactly.
Harry, or is it that blonde-haired douchebag?
No, the blonde-haired douchebag wishes he could.
Well,
hang on. Isn't Harry and is that Slytherin? Isn't that like a whole snake house?
You just gotta watch the movie, I guess. I'm not doing this right now.
Do it tonight.
No spoiler.
Then we can talk about it.
But,
I was actually. I don't remember the. I mean, we read the book. The kids were into the books a long time ago, and I just remember enough to go, man, I bet these are great. Would you go to sleep now, please? That's what I was thinking.
Hey, go with the Goosebumps books. They're much shorter, just as entertaining. We had a flicker tail, and we had an old Chevy. It's like a Caprice Classic. It's about a block and a half long. One of those old rusty cars out on the farm. My brother and I got to drive it around, no shocks, that sort of thing. A flicker tail got in there. We knew we could see him every once in a while, but he was running around in this big car, and we'd hear him in there doing his thing in the dash or whatever. I bet he was in there for about a month before it just stopped.
Oh,
I don't
my
know
God.
if it cooked on the engine or what, but...
I mean, I'm sure we've all encountered wildlife at some point in our life. You're out in the woods, you're taking a hike. You don't even have to be out far from an urban area. I mean, there was a cougar tromping around west downtown Minneapolis just a few months ago. We have our encounters. The one scariest wildlife encounter I had was where you would expect it, which was in Yosemite Park. So we were in the middle of a giant park, a bunch of us in tents, and there was a bear sneaking around throughout our tents one night in the middle of the night. Everybody was laying in their tents, wide awake, listening to the and as it was just snooping around. And we had all made a pact the night before, which was if anybody hears a bear, we're going to do the bear song to wake everyone up so no one's surprised. And the bear song, it was the Monty Python spam song, but just the word bear. Bear, 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 bear. And we thought we'd all do that. And then as it turned out, there was like 9 of us. And then in the next morning when everyone's waking up and there's bear paw prints all over our campsite, everyone's like, did anyone else hear the bear? And every single one of us, oh yeah, I was wide awake. And nobody could get the song out of their mouth knowing there was a bear that close. So 9 guys in like 5 different tents just laying there praying this thing would go away. I'm not Johnny Quest is what I'm getting at. That's not my vibe.
The Bears song. I wonder if that would have worked. Well, it's those Bruins out there, and they don't have Grizzlies out there, so that's what you're supposed to do, is scare them off.
Yeah, well, it scared us all right into our. It was what are they? It's like freeze or flight. It was freezing 9 times over.
Yeah. All right, we have Mike Evans reporting on that wildlife out in Hollywood. Your entertainment report is coming. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is time to head west for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Candace, good morning. And Steve and Zepp and Tony, everybody, good morning. Well, there's good news and bad news. The bad news is that it's Wednesday. The good news is we're only 6 days away from Tuesday when you can see any movie at Marcus Theaters for only $6. But I got an email from somebody that went yesterday and said they absolutely loved it. Take advantage of Marcus Theaters because Marcus Theaters is the best. Okay, so check it out. I checked out Jennifer Lopez's work schedule for the next 24 months. I was shocked. Jennifer Lopez has 8 projects, but only 2 acting gigs in the next 24 months. And Jennifer Lopez's next acting gig, sounds really bizarre. It's a movie called Kiss of the Spider Woman, and it's described as, and I quote, this is from the studio, a musical drama about a gay man and a political prisoner who share an Argentina prison cell in 1982. The gay man narrates stories of 2 fake movies and his own life. Gee, where do I get a ticket to see that? Jennifer Lopez can't find something better than that? Wow. More movie news next week at the South by Southwest Film Festival. The documentary Cheech and Chong's Last Movie. 55 years ago, Cheech and Chong met in Vancouver, British Columbia while fleeing the United States to lead anti-Vietnam War protests. Their on-again, off-again 55-year relationship is very much on-again as they got together to make their last movie a documentary and talk about all the stories. Again, for the first time being shown at South by Southwest in Austin next week, but I hear streaming everywhere come this summer. Meanwhile, some music notes. Yeah, Elton John says that his Dodger Stadium concert was his last live concert, but now we know he'll have at least one more album, maybe even one after that. TV news, Nick Cannon says he has never been so happy to be fired from a gig. But he could not be happier. Being released from co-hosting the TV game show Beating Shazam, Nick Cannon has been filling in the last couple of years for his good friend Jamie Foxx. But Jamie is back healthy and back co-hosting the show with his daughter Corinne, and it's great to have Jamie Foxx back. Hey, everybody wants to make good investments. Well, unless you're Steve. Steve has so much money, But even the stars want to make good investments. And check this out. Robert Downey Jr., Will Ferrell, Oprah, Leonardo DiCaprio, Beyonce, Steve Martin. Never invest in the stock market. They only invest in art. In art. Yeah, how about that? Hey, everybody, have a safe, great day, and we will do it again tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
Mike Evans, Hollywood Report. Kiss of the Spider Woman, Mike Evans, taking his shots at J-Lo. For the record, came out the first version in 1985. William Hurt won the Best Actor Oscar for that film.
William Hurt,
William Hurt won the Oscar. It won the Cannes Film Festival for Film of the Year. Yeah. I don't think it's quite as bizarre. I'm surprised they're doing a remake of it myself. The movie's
with
been so
Jennifer
great,
Lopez.
But hey, okay, whatever. But I mean, the way he described it sounds like kind of crazy, I suppose, but that is a hell of a movie. The original one was anyway.
It was? Oh, it was 1985. You wouldn't get me to watch that. I suppose if I thought I might get laid out of it or something, but yeah, it sounds boring as hell. Two guys in a Brazilian prison.
Well, I
saw Midnight Express.
I was going to say, if you can get laid out of Kiss of a Spider Woman, more power to you, brother. Whew.
Yeah? Oh, chicks
not
did
that kind of movie. Yeah, I guess it could be. As long as we're looking back.
Now it's time to learn.
Wednesday, March 6th. We're not going back to the 80s for sports history. On this day in the year 2000, Shaquille O'Neal celebrated his 28th birthday. He was still with the Lakers, and they were playing the Los Angeles Clippers in L.A. at the Staples Center. Now, both teams, the Lakers and the Clippers, share the arena. But this was a Clippers home game. So Shaq, as it was his birthday, had a lot of family and friends he wanted out at the game, and he asked the Clippers to comp him a section of seats for his friends and family. The Clippers said, no. Screw you, Shaq. He was honestly pissed. In fact, talked about it before the game. He said, I'm going to make him pay. Oh, he did. He had 61 points and 23 rebounds as the Lakers destroyed L.A. Shaq went 24 of 35 from the field, made 13 of 22 foul shots. Anytime he's hitting 50% of his free throws, you know he's pissed. Again, 61 and 23. After the game, he said in the press conference to any other NBA team, just never make me pay for tickets. I just think it's hilarious. You're 28 years old, you're a multimillionaire, and but that's what it is. When you're at a level, when you're an athlete at that level and you have all the money you need, you have to look really hard to find something to piss you off. But he found it that night. On this day in 2021, Lou Ottens died. He was 94. Who was Lou Ottens? He invented the cassette tape.
Huh. Boy, Lou.
Yeah, I mean, literally, just for a quick minute, dude, thank you. I had a lot of... thank you for giving me the gift of music in my own car as I wanted it that wouldn't skip. Right on. Fair enough.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, March the 6th. And, I mentioned earlier on the show during our sports and music history that on this day in 2021, a guy named Lou Ottens passed away. He was 94, and he is the inventor of the cassette tape. So a guy that a lot of us go you go right back and go, oh, cassette tape? Yeah, that helped a lot in my life. So thank you, Lou Ottens. Well, a couple days ago, another guy behind the scenes, somebody who's been a big part of a lot of music we've all loved, named Bob Heil, died. How old was old Bob Heil? He was an old guy. 83 years old. He had a battle with cancer, and he has passed on. He was a technician, and as I said, you probably don't know his name, but my man is responsible for the talk box, which was a sound when you hear a talk box, you usually go right back to the 70s, but throughout rock history, every so often, every few years, somebody pulls one out and reminds the rest of us of just how cool a talk box can be. Peter Frampton, probably the most famous guy to use a talk box, but there's a bunch of music that we play on this station that people have listened to for years that utilize the talk box.
Does anything scream 70s more? There was nothing that I don't think more radio people did when they got into the business, walked into a radio studio and started playing around with the voice sound effects. Mm-hmm. It's just fun. Peter Frampton talking about the talk box. A lot of people thought he invented it.
I was one of a handful of people. I heard Stevie Wonder do it first of the contemporary people. Jeff Beck did it before me, and Joe Walsh did it before me. So, but because of Do You Feel and Show Me the Way, I guess people assumed that I invented it and all sorts of stuff. I did not invent it.
No, he didn't. The Talkbox is if you've ever seen one, on stage, you'll see a guy like I don't even want to sound ridiculous trying to describe it, but it looks like a large plastic tube that's right next to the person's microphone, and you put it in your mouth, and it just engineers some sort of bizarre sound like that thing you heard, like and you're basically singing along and playing through it. I don't understand how it works. But I've seen one up close. On the Black Crowes' second album, there's a song called Black Moon Creeping, and our guitarist Mark Ford used a talk box, and he played it every night on stage, and it was just the coolest, weirdest, most bizarre thing you've ever seen. And at the time, it's right away though. But yeah, of all the people that did it, like he said, Rocky Mountain Way, Joe Walsh, but like Bon Jovi in the '80s, Living on a Prayer, right? Richie Sambora is using a talk box. Kickstart My Heart, Motley Crue, that whole there's that overdrive fuzz tone on the guitar that McMars is playing. So you've heard talk boxes on a lot of things. And Bob Heil also, as you heard, he invented sound systems for the Grateful Dead, who were always, as much as the Grateful Dead, you imagine them to be the most like Luddite, old hippie stoner dudes. Their sound systems and so much of the gear they used on stage was way ahead of the pack. That was their bread and butter, was live touring. So they had state-of-the-art touring stuff. Their sound system, they were one of the first people to have a monitor system where they could all speak to each other. Like during song, every member of the Dead could talk to any other member of the Dead during the song that you wouldn't hear. They had you could step on they could speak to the crew. If you're standing up there, Jerry would be standing at the microphone singing, and he could hit a little foot pedal and just talk directly to his monitor guy that would only go to him. But they were the first people touring with a lot of different things. That's a very simplistic way. But, Bob Heil, one of those guys behind the scenes that every time somebody, puts something together like that, that's a new, that's like a new tool, a new something kind of cool, everybody rushes to use it, and a lot of people lean on it as a crutch. But for people like Frampton or Walsh or Jeff Beck, of course, it becomes a tool, not a crutch, and then greatness occurs.
Yeah, Joe Walsh official. That's his Instagram page posted yesterday. So what do you got that doesn't work? I can hear Bob Heil's voice in the back of my mind. An amazing musician, a mad scientist, a ham radio aficionado, an evangelist, a tireless problem solver, a mentor to me and guide on my guitar journey. Bob was our wizard in the Midwest. He was also my friend for more than 50 years.
Pretty great. Another guy that you hear the name, at least because of the namesake guitar, but Les Paul was another one of those guys who was responsible for so many things. Multi-track recording. Les Paul was responsible for sound on sound recording, overdubbing, reverb effect, echo chambers, and then multi-track tape recorders where you could, like the way that you can lay down a drum track and then put a bass track on top of that on the same piece of tape and then add a guitar and then add a vocal. Les Paul invented all that crap. He was the first guy. And then, oh, by the way, invented guitars, including the one that carries his name. And Les Paul, also one of the greatest guitarists, just one of the truly most mind-boggling musicians of all time. He, the solid body electric guitar that is the Les Paul, he's the guy that came up with it. He was trying to get Fender to buy in and support that vision. They wouldn't. Gibson said, yeah, we'll take a chance on this guy. The Gibson company put together the first Les Paul. I used to go see Les Paul on occasion because for years in New York City, there was a little jazz club on the Upper West Side called the Iridium, and he did a Monday night gig there for years and years and years. And I had heard about it, and at first I kind of thought it must be the kind of thing where you have to know somebody. It's a tiny jazz club. You could never get in. And that wasn't the case at all. You'd just go buy a ticket, go see Les Paul. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was some like velvet rope experience. No, it's just a jazz club. Just walk in and go see the guy. And he would be on stage, and he had an accompaniment, another guitarist accompanying him. And the other thing Les Paul was literally one of the greatest storytellers of all time. It was like sitting in a room with whoever the greatest, funniest guy you ever met was, but he just happened to also be the greatest guitarist ever. And in between songs, he would just spin yarns. And people would shout out, Les, did you ever meet? And they would fill in a name. And he had a story about everybody because everybody has met Les Paul. Every guitarist comes to worship at the altar of Les Paul. And then generally speaking, there would be one or two people in the room who then he would invite up for a song. I was there one night, and Neil Schon from Journey was there. And he said, oh, my old friend Neil's in the house. You want to play one? And Neil gets up on stage, sits down next to him, and then just blows the roof off the joint. Just two guys playing guitar. Les playing rhythm, Neil soloing, and then they would go back and forth, and Neil would play a rhythm, and Les would solo, and it was just a transcendent experience every time I ever saw the guy.
Oh, cool.
There one night he said, hey, there's a guy here from the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. Step on up, buddy. And this dude steps up in the bolo tie, in the whole suit, like he's getting ready to go on the Grand Ole Opry, and this guy was a fiddle player in the Grand Ole Opry house band, which means you are just world class and then some fiddle player. And the two of them just played like bluegrass and country tunes for 20 minutes. A Greek bouzouki player got up, and Les Paul's playing like Greek mass.
No, you're not.
Naked and Afraid is a cable TV show. Naked and Alone is a live stream of Candace's house.
Well, I'm too blind. I'm blinding. If I was on a campsite.
Blinding. What is that translucent figure approaching? Oh, that's fine. It's just Candace. She doesn't. The sun doesn't hit her. It just bounces off and blinds the rest of us. But back to the bowling alley. Like the idea of, it's a weird. Bowling is like a. Yeah, it's now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know that I've ever had an erotically charged moment surrounding bowling. It might be the perfect place to be naked because there is nothing. I mean, okay, I'm heterosexual. I'm picturing every woman I've ever watched bowl. Has any of it ever been hot? And the answer is actually no.
No, not unless
so.
It was a Big Lebowski kind of dream sequence, and you were going between the legs of all the old pinup girls. Or
now that's
like
a whole different story.
Whole different story. What about naked yoga, you guys? Because that's already you're in a compromising position. A bunch of people there in the room, and the reason I bring it up, there's a yoga studio out in Billings, Montana, and here's the part that mystifies me a little bit. They're doing it for body positivity.
Okay,
I mean yoga. That would not make me feel more positive about my body. The owner of the club, I don't have her name right now.
Yoga is at its core about liberation. I'm trying to get people into a space of acknowledging what they might be holding in their bodies, everything from trauma to joy.
It helps calm and soothe my Tourette's. I've always been really curious about doing a clothing optional class because it makes us really self-conscious, and I am pretty self-conscious. I'm a little fluffier, than I want to be, just like most people.
We've had some folks that have started off in sports bras and shorts, and they slowly moved to like a topless space, and then just kind of completely like just all out and like in the open.
I've only done I've done a lot of yoga, but it's only been hot yoga in studios that are 105 or 110 degrees, and so there's very little clothing to begin with. in a room like that. I'm just, you're just in there in your yoga shorts, or just for me, just some shorts that maybe kind of aren't too big. It's like, and so I kind of actually get that step. At some point, you're already very barely clothed to begin with, but at the same point, I don't know that it would. What truly is the difference? What are we trying to accomplish? Just body positivity? But you're already.
No, I was in a yoga class last night, and I'll tell you, I mean, there was a lot of booty shorts. I mean, it pretty much nude.
Gets there,
everyone was
right?
pretty much naked last night.
I like to just walk by the big glass and watch outside. And sometimes I'll bring a folding chair.
Press your face up against the glass. And drool.
Oh, really? For me, maybe I'm way out of bounds here because, like you said, they're not wearing much. They got the booty shorts, or you're wearing one of those leggings or something. And these things don't trap in the odor. But I just think of how much I sweat. I'm just a sweaty guy.
Yeah, sure.
And I feel like the clothes sort of lock in some of that. It's not wafting around quite as much, the odor. I don't. But, I'm probably overthinking it. I overthink these naked things all the time. Getting naked, and doing something is, that's kind of a big deal for me. I just don't do it casually.
I sweat a good bit, but when I started doing hot yoga, that's a whole nother level that you unlock. And the more you do it, and in fact, the healthier you turn your life. Like if you're not drinking alcohol, but being way more hydrated with water, Gatorade, whatever, over the course of a few weeks, the more yoga you do, the more I would be sweating. And I'd be like, wow, I've never had this much sweat. That said, class would end. You come out of your final namaste pose, and you're resting and you're relaxing, and then it's time to get up. You roll over, you roll up your mat and your towel, and sometimes there'd be like a little, there's a stain on the floor where you can see where you are. But there's invariably someone who's an honest to God sweaty person, like a whole different level. And I'd look, and they'd have 2 full-size towels that they'd had in the class with them.
Oh yeah.
And and when they got up, it looks like a water buffalo had been there. The stain had spread so far beyond just their personal footprint, their body print.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you're sweating like, those are the guys, they're sweating when they're swimming laps. You know what I mean? It's just like, whoa, dude, how can you stand this? There was 2 guys in my high school that when we would play basketball and scrimmage, it'd be shirts and skins, and you just never wanted to have to guard them. It's like, oh my God, they would hear a basketball bounce on the floor and they'd start to sweat. You know what I mean? You're just like,
here at the Q years ago, we played pickup basketball every day at like noon or whatever. A bunch of us would go over to the ground and play pickup basketball, shirts, skins, and the rule was whatever team Zepp is on is shirts because I'm that guy.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's how badly I sweat constantly. I lived in Florida for one summer. We'd go out partying for the night. I would take not 2, but 3 shirts with me. Because just standing there drinking out on a deck in Florida somewhere, I would just be pitted out and sweating so badly. Of course, I was single. I wanted to try and attract someone that I would dash back out to the car then and put on a dry shirt. I'd have to do that a couple of times a night.
Weird.
So it just pours out of me. It's metabolism, baby.
I've never understood Zepp's the nude approach to morning radio, but now it makes sense.
Well, this is going to be fun for people that like to do things in the nude. Right now on the KQ92 talk and text line, callers 9 and 2 651-989 Rock. Get on it right now. This morning we're playing Trust Us. For a chance to win sweet tickets to the Minnesota Wild versus the Arizona Coyotes Tuesday, March 12th at the Excel Energy Center. Prize provided by the Minnesota Wild. And that night, next Tuesday, naked night in our suite. Clothing optional in the KQ suite on Tuesday. So looking forward to that. Runner-up today, Jack Russell's Great White and Lynch Mob this Saturday at the Medina. Thank you, Medina, for those tickets. 651-989 Rock. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
There we go. Hey! I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Wow.
Was anyone hurt?
Sorry.
Nobody was injured. Gremlins, yet again, loose in the courtroom.
You guys started it this morning, okay? I was doing
Who's
great.
you guys?
These guys in here were all messing around all morning long, making mistakes.
Hijinks.
Messing around.
So So
It's a weird morning.
Let me get this straight. So listen, if anyone's just joining us, your confusion is warranted. The show started late because I hit a wrong button. And, that's how that goes sometimes, okay? I'm just an idiot at the end of the day. That's how this works. I do two things. I play drums and I talk. And beyond that, if you're asking me for much, look out. No, okay, here it is. I had some eye work done. I'm a little Mr. Magoo-like today. My pupils are still dilated, for crying out loud. And I hit a wrong button, and the whole show went straight to hell. Then we rebooted. Then we rebounded. Then we pulled it out of the ditch. Then we've been giving award-winning radio. And then what happened, Candace?
I only get 3 minutes to go to the bathroom a day, so
a day. We tell you better make it worth its while when you go. No, here we are, and we are all having fun. It's Wednesday, March the 6th, and our malfeasance and our miscues aside, I do have one thing I want to share with our listeners right now, and this is important. You still have time to pick up your Tee It Up golf card number 3. This is the final card for 2024. You can hit 7 area courses, and while you do it, you'll save over $200. Get yours at 92kqrs.com. Search the keyword golf. Since we didn't really have a winter, golf season is pretty much already here, for crying out loud. Start getting that back stretched out. Let's start heading them long and straight. What do you say? I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about the fact that we're about to give away some stuff because we are of the giving variety here at the 92 KQ Morning Show, and we've got tickets for something outstanding today. Let's see what that would be. See, in the midst of all of my confusion, I don't even know what we're giving away tickets for. Someone help me out.
Minnesota Wild
Minnesota
Sweet
Wild.
Ticks, baby.
There it is. How did I lose that? Where was that information? We've got which game is it? Help me out. I'm literally flying blind.
It's a hockey
The
game.
Coyotes, the Arizona Coyotes are coming to town Tuesday.
There it is. Oh my gosh, look at this. Nothing like putting an email in the wrong place. I had this up a while ago. So this is exciting news, isn't it? The Minnesota Wild will be playing the Coyotes Tuesday, March 12th. We've got tickets to give away. We've got also runner-up tickets. Jack Russell's Great White with the Lynch Mob. That's this Saturday at Medina. Holy smokes. And we're going to play a whale of a game. Tony, what is today's whale of a game?
Well, yesterday it was a bodily function extravaganza here on the show. We got confessional.
Sure was.
Our listeners got confessional. So let's keep it going, kind of that same theme, sharing details about our lives.
Why should I believe you?
Why should I believe you?
You can trust us.
I hope you'll trust us.
Trust us.
Let's find out if you'll trust us.
Now, why should I trust you? Why? Why should I trust you? Come on, you up. You trusted us.
You know, listeners, do you really know us? Really? Can we be trusted? Well, we're going to make a statement about ourselves, and you guess if it's true or false. It's professional grade fun.
I like it. All right.
Pro fun. I like that. Yeah.
We've got a couple callers locked and loaded. I'm assuming. Candace, who is contestant number 1?
Levon from Shakopee.
Levon, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, dear?
I am doing awesome. How are you guys?
We're great. I mean, we can't seem to get our heads out of our asses around here today, but you know what? We're having fun with all of the with all of the cacophony. You've got a chance to win wild tickets against the Coyotes, as I like to call them. We're going to play a game called Trust Us. I wish you the best of luck, dear.
Awesome. Thank you.
Quizmaster General Tony Lee, take over.
All right, we will go around the horn. I'll go first, and then you one by one will give your statements.
Great.
Okay.
All right, dear. I was one of a few MCs for a high school talent contest, and we put on some really lame sketches, including a Star Trek parody, which got booed. And I got in trouble for wearing on stage a jean jacket that had in big block letters, the Sex Pistols. True or false?
I'm going to say true.
You are correct.
Yeah. Yes.
Controversial.
Was it the pistols or the sex part?
They're still talking about it.
Yeah.
Well done, Levon. You're 1 for 1. Who's up next? Zep, why don't you go for it?
Oh, sure. While attending the Sturgis motorcycle rally in 2009, I jumped on the wrong motorcycle, which just happened to be my exact same model and color, and took off. Drove down to the road, went back to the campground where I noticed the bike had a personalized license plate, which was not mine.
Oh, boy.
Drove it back to the gas station, found my bike, and sped off. As far as I know, no one was ever the wiser.
Ooh, I am also going to say that is true.
That's how dumb I am. Yeah, I did it.
Wow, really?
That happened, yeah. And it was and I had an anniversary bike. They only made like 3,500 of them that year.
Yeah.
How'd you get the key?
There is no key on a Harley.
Oh.
Well, I take that back.
boy.
There is a key on I take that back 100%. There is a key on a Harley. But a lot of people, when you're at Sturgis, this was at a gas station, will just, we don't lock them up all the time.
Sure.
So it's the rally. Everybody's running around. And so I just came out, threw my leg over. I even have a sissy bar on my motorcycle. And this one did not have a sissy bar because I'm a sissy. And just gave her the old click there and fired right up, tore off. And got back, was walking around, and it said something like Jugs or whatever was the license plate. And I went, what? It wasn't even the right state. And I went, holy hell, this isn't my motorcycle. Zipped back, parked it, ran around to the other side of the gas station. There she be.
I was really hoping you were going to get back to that gas station and Leonard Smalls from Raising Arizona was standing there waiting for you. Randall Tex Cobb with a shotgun in his hand.
I expected him. Yeah, just to be sitting on my motorcycle, with a double barrel.
That's great. Far more impressive than you getting away with that. Levon's 2 for 2, off and running. All right, Candace, you are up, dear.
Okay, so even though I'm a city girl, I'm obsessed with alpacas, and I raise them on the side.
Ooh, I should really know this, Candace. I'm going to say false, not alpacas.
You're right, not alpacas.
Wait a minute, that alpaca sweater you gave me that you said you handmade was a bunch of BS?
Man.
I do like them, but I'm not obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with goats.
Does anybody know what it's called, the noise alpacas make? There's a term for it.
Shrieking?
Garlentia.
Orgling. Orgling. and I know that, and this is not my true or false get to know me. This is actually a fact. There's a record out. There's an album called Alpacas Orgling by a group called LEO.
Oh my God.
And it was spearheaded by a great singer-songwriter named Blue, and it's an entire album of songs that sound exactly like something that would be from an ELO album, but it's not. It's like a tribute to Jeff Lynne.
Cool.
And the album's called Alpacas Orgling, and I know that because I played on a couple of the tracks, and it's great.
How bizarre.
And that's the only thing I know about alpacas. That's it. I can tell you what they
Good orgling.
Male alpaca is currently one of our females.
Boy, that's a lot of alpaca noise right there.
Getting out of bed.
I just punched it into YouTube. And by the way, that alpaca is in the process of orgling another alpaca.
Sure. That's it. They lay
down when they do it.
Well, sure they do. I mean, come on. Those alpacas aren't going to reproduce themselves. Oh, actually, they are. Okay, here's mine. Levon, you're 3 for 3. You're doing great. Okay, here we go. When I was a college student, they always at the Mr. Gaddy's Pizza they had starving student buffet, and one night during the 1985 NBA Finals, I ate 33 slices of pizza in one sitting as a tribute to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh, man. I'm going to say false.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That is an absolutely true statement.
You pig. 33. Did you barf halfway through?
It went on. Well, it wasn't like there was no time limit. It was one sitting, and it was for most of an NBA Finals game. But I just was like, because at some point it was like we were keeping count, and at some point I was like, the captain needs me. He's gonna,
Jabbar called you to thank you.
He did. Because
the
idea of the Celtics got us in '84. We needed the power of 33 slices of pizza.
How was that the next day? How was that?
Oh no, it was all. We don't want to talk about the aftermath. Levon, you went 3 for 4, and that is quite impressive. So very well played. As close to a perfect score as we've had anybody. Sit tight for a second. Let's see what happens with contestant number 2. Candace, who is alpaca contestant number 2?
Oh, my God. Dave from Sharona, Wisconsin.
Dave, good morning, sir.
Dave from Sharona.
Good morning.
What are you feeling like? How's your morning so far?
Oh, it was going good till she got 3 out of 4.
Whoa, boy. Yeah, Lavon came to
Right.
play. All right, well, listen, man, we've seen a 4 for 4, I believe, on one occasion. So, hope springs eternal. Best of luck to you, Dave. Why don't, Tony, why don't you lead us off here?
All right, Davey. For driver's ed, we all got to drive Datsun B210s around a track in what was then Midway Stadium in St. Paul. Feeling devilish, a couple of us exited the stadium and went down the street to the Zantigo for cheese chilitos. We got caught and couldn't get our permits for an extra 6 months.
I don't believe you.
You are correct. That did not happen.
That did not happen.
I don't believe you.
Dave, just call Tony a liar next time.
Oh.
There was some scorn in that. I don't believe you, Tony Lee. All right, well played, Dave. You're on the track with a win out of the gate. To Zep, you're up.
Oh, boy. All right, here we go. Dave, I'm a fairly private person, even though I'm on the radio. But over the weekend, I secretly got married.
Ooh. I don't believe you.
Thank God. Yeah, no, it didn't happen. No, not even close. I got a little tiff, I think. No, all's good, but not married.
Honestly, we're all looking at each other like,
right.
what? Wait, hold on. Really? Like, wow, I kind of bought into that one.
I know,
Holy
but
crap.
something you might not mention.
Well played. Yeah, that would be like Zep. Oh, by the way, it's Wednesday. I got married over the weekend.
Yeah.
Well played, Dave. Candace, you're up.
All right, so for prom, we went to a really fancy seafood restaurant, and I had mussels for the first time. And turns out I'm allergic to mussels. So when we got there, we were dancing and everything, and then I had to leave because I had massive diarrhea.
You didn't tell that story yesterday.
Did you go in a bag?
KFC bucket? I'm going to go with no.
You're right. I'm a fat liar.
Yeah.
It pays to be a skeptic, Dave.
I tell you what, Dave is rolling just like Lavon, 3 for 3. This is it, Dave. If you get this one right, you have a perfect score in the hockey tickets. All right, here we go. It's my turn. I went to high school in Kentucky, and despite popular opinion, not everybody in the state is great at basketball. Case in point, I was on a junior varsity basketball team that lost a game 77-0.
I think you could have put in 2 points. I don't believe you.
Dave, I'm sorry to say, it was a true statement. I am really sorry. And believe me, I'm sorrier than anything. I've never gotten over it. Here's the craziest part. We lost the game 77-0. And the visitors' scoreboard didn't work. But we never found out because we never scored.
Oh, my God.
The varsity game afterwards, when our varsity team scored their first bucket, that's when they found out the scoreboard was not working properly.
Oh, my greatest basketball story ever.
I know. 77-0.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
that's legendary.
We were what they called back then a soccer school. Okay. Wow, I'm sorry to do that to you, Dave, but the truth is the truth. Okay, Lavon and Dave, you both went 3 for 4. Very well played. What that means right now is Tony's going to have a tiebreaker. I guess that's going to be a question, and then we'll ask Lavon to answer first, and then we'll get Dave's answer.
All right, here's your question. The recording artist with the most gold records is the king, Elvis. How many gold records?
What do you think, Lavon?
I am going to guess 36.
36 gold records for the king. Dave, what do you think?
35.
35, he says.
Oh, what a jerk.
Wow. Wow.
Dave, what say you?
Shots fired.
Is that my wife?
Is that my wife? That's good.
The correct answer is 117.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
a misinformed jerk, if anything. So, LaVon, you do, by a nose, win this one. You've got tickets to see the Wild and the Coyotes March 12th. Congratulations, Dave. You're not leaving empty-handed. Jack Russell's Great White and Lynch Mob Saturday at Medina. That was a great game. Thanks so much to both of you.
Thank you.
You got it, man.
Yeah.
Right
That
on.
was a good time. Dang. Not
Holy
bad.
smoke.
Coming up here, hey, before the top of the hour, we've got a list of some of the top food turnoffs.
Oof.
Yeah, clickbait. I clicked on it. We got into it a little bit. Yeah, it gets gross. It gets weird. Some things I didn't think would be turnoffs after talking about them. Turns out they're huge turnoffs. Big top food turnoffs coming. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, March the 6th. It's funny. A lot of great athletes in the world, a lot of great activities, a lot of great athletic events, a lot of great sports, blah, 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 that we only tune into every 4 years because they're what we call Olympic events, like track and field. These things are happening year-round, every year, all year. There are world championships, national championships. And at least the average American sports fan really only dials in every, as I said, 4 years. You'll watch the Olympic trials, and you'll get to know a couple of the athletes. And then in the months leading up to the Olympics, it's usually NBC, and they just start pounding us with personal stories so we get to know our athletes. And by the time the Olympics roll around, we kind of feel like we're in touch. We're like, man, this is awesome. I love that guy. I love that girl. I hope she wins. I love her. Oh, she's, running the race, and she doesn't have a head, or whatever the story is. There's always some personal interest story. Oh my God, her dad was Charles Manson, but now I'm cheering for her. It's crazy. I mean, they turn anything into a story you can cheer for. Well, there are still, as I said, events happening at all times. And in the track and field world, just this past week, a Dutch runner, her name is Femke Bol. Now, I'm not pretending to know anything about this woman, but she just broke her own world record, the 400-meter indoor. That is, indoor 400 meter. She also runs hurdles. She's a sprinter. She's part of the relay teams that she does the 4x100, the 4x400. Long story short, she's really fast. And in the 400 meters, that's like one lap on the track. I mean, it's just a ball out sprint. For a whole lap around a big track. Now, she just won and set a new world record for the 400 meters indoor. We are going to listen to a little bit of her interview, and before you hear this woman's voice, I want you to note she is 6 feet tall. This woman is 6 feet, 0 inches tall, and an incredible athlete, and here we go.
When you're putting your mind to it, you know exactly what to do indoors. How was that for you?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, it was such a strong race. We were all running so fast, multiple running in the 50s, so I knew I had to go out fast. I had Lieke in front of me, so I wanted to be in front, and I could hear halfway she was behind me, so I was like, okay, this is good, now we keep going, and this crowd is so amazing.
I'm not hearing a word she's saying.
It's incredible.
Tony, that can't be. Yeah, I heard it this morning and went, see what they did there with AI or on the internet. Tony with his little production tricks. There's another prankster out there that, no, I checked several sources.
Yep, I did the same thing too. The first thing I did was Google more interviews, and boy, she is just. And then Goofy made the cake, and Minnie showed up later, and we were having fun, and then Daffy Duck came over, and it's a whole party. I mean, if that isn't a Disney character, and again, this is a 24-year-old woman who is 6 feet tall, and when you watch her run on the track, I mean, it is truly awesome.
Right?
It's like watching a gazelle across the Serengeti. It is gorgeous, and she's the fastest woman ever indoors at 400 meters, and that's what comes out when she starts talking.
How would you like to be the person interviewing her? Because you really got to sober up and get and I'm not talking about intoxicated, but I mean really just, I don't know how actors do it, what the method there is.
Right.
Maybe you have to think of something. Because here's a guy, and he's looking her right in the eyes, and he has to hand her the microphone. I just want to watch the reporters' faces. Here.
Ask, how do you break a world record so comfortably?
It's not comfortable, that's a secret. Just like to make it look so.
Listen, we've seen you over the past few races here. You've looked within your zone. You've looked like you're in the best form of your life. Talk to us about the race. Did you feel as comfortable as you looked coming down the home straight?
Today? No. I must say the last 50 is never easy, but I learned this inner...
I love it.
I can't even hear the words coming out of her mouth. I'm just picturing someone put some Mickey Mouse ears on her. By the way, like a human gazelle watching her run.
It's funny, too, because when she speaks in her native Dutch, her voice is like, she speaks this low. It's a weird... No, I'm kidding. It's just wouldn't that be great if that was just her English voice? You know, she switches back and forth flawlessly from language to language, but every language has a different register, a different octave she's speaking in.
Sounds like Nadia Comaneci.
Oh, wow.
I know, but those girls were Mickey Mouse. I mean, they're like 4'4", right, 75 pounds. A voice like that comes out of Nadia Comaneci, and you're like, oh, okay, but this woman is
pretty fantastic. I gotta say, as much as I'm in awe of watching, again, I've never heard of this woman until this morning, but I just watched several clips, and I just, you can't help it. You get transfixed watching someone's body move like that. Like, this is a woman who is clearly just born to run, right? The way Michael Phelps was born to swim, and the athletes will talk about, being 10, 11, 12, playing other sports, and then the first time they do something, it's just like literally the universe goes, here, this is for you, and they never turn back. And that's an amazing thing to watch. So when I'm watching her run, it's like there's an electrical current. It's like this is how this is supposed to be. Like, I don't know anything about this person other than when I watch someone do, like when I watch the Olympics, it's a lot of events I don't care about, a lot of events I know nothing about, and I will become so moved by the effort. When you see somebody doing something so wonderfully, it's no different than hearing someone sing a beautiful song or paint something. I mean, to me, it's the same as art. I can be moved viscerally by someone operating at such a high level of anything. Honestly, it's like magic. That said, that mood shifts immediately when my friend Femke starts speaking. Whatever connection to the universe and the cosmos I feel watching her run, when she starts talking, it's just like, oh, no. Sign language, sister. Sign language. Right. Speak out to your deaf friends, and let's not hurt ourselves with this.
By the way,
I hate to say it, it's not a turnoff in that I'm sexually charged, but it's a turnoff in the far more ethereal, oh my God, humanity is at its highest point, and it's like this great cooling off immediately as soon as I hear her speak.
It's startling. Yeah.
Here in the comments section, one of the fellas, Jake, comments, that's not her regular speaking voice. She's just got a lot of adrenaline after the race. What do you people have the humor of a 10-year-old?
Yeah.
Here she is, fully dressed at a press conference.
It's amazing. I mean, last year I won the world record, and I knew it was like almost my perfect race, and I didn't exactly know how to do it again. And this year I won twice this fast time.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, that's wonderful.
No, I hope she's in the Olympics next time. I'm a fan. I mean, really, I think it's great. I've come around. You're right, Jake. I'm a bad guy. No, I'm sorry, man. That's hilarious.
I mean, do you guys remember where you were the first time you heard Mike Tyson just come out and pulverize someone in 10 seconds?
Of course.
I mean, he just absolutely, and I remember the first time this guy was, 6'5", he's got like a half a foot on Mike Tyson, and he's out there, he's looking intense, he bull rushes him, and in 25 seconds, the entire thing was over. Mm-hmm. My buddy, it was a pay-per-view event, my buddy out there getting a beer, missed the entire fight, and then he goes into that thing with that little bit of lisp and that high voice, and wouldn't laugh at his face, but man,
fantastic. Just that's all it is. We're just, you know what? I don't mind making fun of somebody who's the greatest on earth at something else.
Yeah, let's see you run.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what she would laugh at. She would laugh at us running, and we laugh at her speaking.
I've been told you have a great voice, Steve. And guess what? I can't run 100 yards. So yeah, I mean, she's going to be fine with us kind of poking fun at the fact that she sounds like Minnie Mouse. But what Zepp, you mentioned earlier, this list of things that can turn people off revolving around food. And I look, I'm 30th anniversary yesterday. I'm not in the dating scene, haven't been in forever. But I do. It's real easy to remember those days and remember things that I saw people do, that I was sitting with somebody, you're on a date or you're hanging out, you're just having fun with a woman, and then all of a sudden it just, boom, turns on a dime where you just think, oh, no, that's not working for me. And some of it might be this, idealized. You put a woman on a pedestal, like she's not even human. She's a beauty. Right. She's an angel from heaven. And then you look over, and she's just spitting something out of her mouth right back into her plate. Which has happened to me. Like, oh, gross. Whoa. Yeah. And I was like, this date's over. I mean, I'm going to be here for the next hour, but I've checked out entirely, and I can't deal with this. That's the younger me, Steve Gorman. But there's 30 top food turnoffs. And I'm curious if we've experienced very many of these. First things first, though, and I get this one, being rude to waiters or waitresses.
Yeah, no way.
It's really, really tough, except when I do it. Then it's warranted, and then it's okay.
Yeah, right, because then they have it coming.
Because, I will say, sometimes people if they're terrible at their job, I'm not necessarily going to be rude, but I'm going to point out, if they say, everything okay? I'll be like, actually, no. It took 9 minutes to get this water refilled. Come on, man. Let's go. Yeah. I try not to be a jerk about it, but I'll point things out. And what I say sometimes is, hey, I'm doing them a favor. I've waited tables that you need tips, you need help. Really what I'm doing is I'm just mad and I'm trying to be cool about it.
Yeah, but I mean, if people took constructive criticism constructively, but one time I remember just having absolutely the worst service, and it could have only been, and it was our server, and just the server was having a bad day, in a bad mood, everything was wrong.
Yeah.
And finally I said, I'm not going to tip, but I want you to know why, because what you're going to think is, what a jerk, what a cheap ass. Yeah. I'm not. I'm a very generous tipper, I believe. But I want you to know that I feel like a jerk if I tip you here on this, and I'm sure I was just a jerk when I left, but because she was just, this guy's an asshole. All right, I suppose, but at some point you have to draw the line. But people that just think that servers are there to order around, you don't have to do very much to be rude to a server. Just be a little disingenuous and you come off as a big jerk.
That's very true. I have one thought when it comes to wait staff. They should have at least once in their life been a customer at a restaurant before. And I say that because there are times when I have had people waiting on me where I'm literally like, I don't think they've ever been in a restaurant until today. They have no idea how this is supposed to go.
Judgy. Jeez Louise.
That's what we're getting paid for.
I work for my money, and I want to spend it at an establishment. I don't expect to have to ask 9 times for the same thing over and over and over and over. Candace, you're a wonderful server, I'm sure.
I've never had that experience with a server, honestly. I don't know. Maybe it's you guys.
That could be.
Well, there was a time in my life when I was traveling nonstop, so I was probably relying upon servers way more than the average person because I was just in hotels and whatever. So maybe that's part of that. But I generally am also like you, Zup. I'm a great tipper. That's hard work. I've done it. I hated every second of it. I'm not good at it myself, but I just expect people to, kind of get a little bit of their act together. But spitting something back out into a plate, that
was it really hot? Did she have to do it to protect her?
She just
mouth?
Went, oh, gross.
Remember what it was?
I don't remember. I know where we were. I don't remember specifically what it was. It was a place called Friolero, so it was a burrito or a bowl of it was Mexican-ish type of food at a Mission-style burrito place. Whatever she ate, she just
Number 26 on the list, taking a long time to eat. We're over at actually Toby Keith's, the late great Toby Keith's place. I don't know if he's great or not, but I don't know the guy's music. But anyway, we decided to meet over there, and she took so long to eat. Well over an hour after her entree arrived.
That's not so
kept
bad.
Picking at it.
Yes, it is. You would say that, Tony. You're very slow.
I'm notoriously slow.
Oh, are you? Well, and it just kept going and going and going on and on and on. Now I'm drunk because I just keep ordering drinks. My food's gone. My plate's gone. She's still picking away over there. And then after we got done, she finally sent the entree away and says, okay, I guess you can take this. After only eating like half the plate, I'm like, you're not going to take the rest rest of it home and spend the rest of the weekend finishing it.
Wow, yeah.
But then she said, should we get dessert?
Oh,
and at this
Lord.
point, I'm so drunk, I start laughing, and I'm like, no, they're only open for like 3 more hours. Are you out of your mind?
That's like, should we get dessert? You mean breakfast, right? What the hell are you talking about?
Well, what was
And
the
then I
big
ju-
hurry, though? Was it a good conversation, or you just wanted to get to getting down?
No, we were going to go see a band.
Oh,
I just kind of wanted to
okay.
get
Get
over there and
something
see
afterwards.
the band. And I was, I said, you know what? That's all right. We'll miss the opening band. We're here over to the Turf Club. Steve was just there recently. And I said, that's okay. You know what? It's across town. There's an opening band. I'm sure we'll be fine. And it's like 9:30 at this point. And I'm like,
that's
we've been
not-
sitting there eating dinner since, 7:30.
nuts.
Yeah. So anyway, but when I laughed at her about dessert, then I saw the look on her face was like, yeah, there's not a number 2 date out of this.
I've been accused, accurately and appropriately so, of I'm guilty of, if there's something on your plate, not like a piece of steak or something or mashed potatoes, but I mean, if it's a chip or if it's a piece of bacon, if it's something that you can easily pick up with your fingers and eat, I will reach across and just grab one from your plate. If I know you, not if I'm just getting to know you, not if I've just met you, but that totally stems from just growing up in a house where that's just what everyone did. It's like, you done with that? And before you can say, no, I'm not, your older brother's taking it, then you get theirs back. It's just it's almost like, it's not necessarily communal eating, but it's just as close as it can get. And I literally almost got into a full-on physical scrap, but this was with a guy I just met. He turned out to be one of my very good friends now. He's a great guitarist. His name is Guthrie Trapp, and he lives in Nashville, and he is a world-class musician. And my band Trigger Hippie had a few dates, this is years ago, and he was going to fill in for us. I'd met him once, and then he was going to, it was one of those things where it was like, hey, dude, we got 2 gigs this weekend. Can you come and play the shows? He said, sure. I sent him 10 songs, no rehearsal. We're just going to get on stage and play, right? So Nick and I, my bassist and I, go to the airport, and we see Guthrie sitting there having breakfast at an airport cafe. We're like, hey, dude, oh, good to see you. We sit down, and he's talking, and it looks like his meal is pretty much finished. And there's a couple pieces of bacon on his plate. Nice. And I'm just like, oh, man, I'm going to grab that. I reach over, and I just take a piece of bacon. Guthrie was raised as an only child. He just never had brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And at this time, he's still... The look on that man's face was, he viewed that as a total challenge. Like, I'm walking into a prison yard and I'm going to go punch the biggest guy. And I'm like, he truly interpreted it as a gauntlet that I'm throwing down to see if he's going to match me for top dog stat. Whereas I'm literally just like, man, that bacon looks good and I think you're done with it, so I'll eat it. And I looked at him and I was like, dude, are you okay? And this guy literally goes, what the hell do you think you're doing? He was dead serious. And I was like, whoa. And then Nick has to de-escalate. And it was like, and I thought, and of course, I thought Guthrie's running shtick, so I play up my part. And then before you know it, like, we're literally about to have a fight. It was the funniest thing ever. And then I'm suddenly...
it was amazing. I mean...
That's it.
I thought you were done with your bacon, and you were about to play a guitar solo, and I thought I'll just have some of his bacon.
Oh, my God. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I've had the talking with your mouth full one, too. And I know that's just an old... And that's universally agreed upon, but it's amazing to me out there, the people that still do it. And kind of refined, right? It seems like something, just the, I don't know, wrong side of the tracks, grew up as a, feeding themselves, maybe a single parent with 10 kids or something like that. No, I've been out with some really cool people that just... And then, of course, if you make a joke about it, I don't ever confront someone like, would you mind shutting your mouth? But you'll make a joke, some sort of crack about it. And then I'm the uptight one, Well, my mouth's open. I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to see your food swishing around in your mouth like I'm looking at a washing machine window,
Bacon tastes good. Pork chops taste good.
You know what a lot of people hate is when you slurp soup or pasta or anything.
I hate it. And then also
I'm a coffee
my mom,
slurper.
My mom she'll take a spoon with soup, but she'll click the spoon. Every time she goes down and get a spoonful, I'd be like,
right.
Do you, I sometimes
How about a fork scraper?
I'm a fork scraper. I used to be anyway. And here's the thing: once you get used to it, it's just a good way to pull the food off the fork. Otherwise, your lips, it gets all over your lips and in your stash and everything else. But I had to learn otherwise because people would bring it up. They're like, okay, it's nails on a chalkboard.
I was watching a documentary or a film or something. It was about Japanese food, and it was saying that, like with ramen, like a bowl of the noodle soup, you're supposed to slurp the broth. It aerates the broth as it enters. You get more flavor, the whole thing. And we are watching this, and Rosemary looks at me. She goes, "This is not your green flag to start slurping ramen from now on." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I just know the next time we're there, because I love soup. I will eat soup every day of every year and be quite happy. And when it's really hot, I enjoy a spoonful of soup and going. I've done that my whole life,
savoring it,
and I have to pipe it down around my wife, who's got. Boy, she chose oddly with a life partner because I make noise. I'm a loud dude, and she's got that thing where. She doesn't notice noise until she does, but once she does, it's over. It has to stop. Right. I don't know, what's that called? It's like there's a word for this. She's got a very mild case of, autophonophagia or some nonsense they say when it's basically you're just
Does she
uptight.
get headaches easily?
No, she doesn't. But
all right, my mom does, and so it was always lots of quiet. We had to be quiet in the house because it would trigger one of mom's headaches, but that's not.
No, this is not a headache thing, but her sister has it too. Way worse though. It's like if you're just tapping, eventually everybody goes, "Hey, stop the tapping," but it can go like boom right away, and it drives people crazy. And what I always say is, you guys are just wound up, relax. And then I realized, it's a real thing. Okay, fine. There's a word for it. I don't have that at all. You can run a jackhammer next to me, and it's going to take a while before I figure it out, unless I'm in a movie theater. And you have your box of Raisinets, you want to open that box, and then you play with that plastic wrap for more than 1 second.
All right, I like Bunch of Crunch, and I have to wait till the action scenes. People are like, you only want to go see action movies. That's because I like Bunch of Crunch. And try to unwrap that and eat Bunch of Crunch, during a serious, tender moment.
I get it. I'm the worst in movie theaters. It has to be dead quiet, super dark. I want to go away. I want to be like Nicole Kidman. Hey, I want to go away to another planet and leave, and I want people to talk like this, and I don't want to think it's weird. I just want to live in whatever the filmmaker wants me to live in. And when I hear that plastic wrap, that it's the goobers or the Raisinets. I don't mind the popcorn chewing. I don't even mind the slurping of the Coke. It's the plastic wrap over the candy.
Yeah,
it's like, man. Do that in the lobby.
Do it before.
Do it in the lobby. Get your candy. Get that plastic wrap off there. Then open the box and pour your Reese's Pieces.
All running so fast. Multiple running in the 50, so I knew I had to go out fast.
All right. Would you rather Wednesday? It's Wednesday. We're going to play a little game of Would you rather have a rattlesnake in your car or a scorpion in your bed?
Ooh.
The correct answer is neither, but both happened. We have audio, and one was far worse than the other. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That was Poison. Nothing but a good time on a Wednesday morning. Gentleman was in Las Vegas in December, and I have to think he went there looking for a good time. I mean, you can find a bad time in Vegas, but you don't go looking for a bad time. You're generally looking for a good time, whatever that may be. Maybe you want to get a nice steak. Maybe you want to take in a show. Maybe you want to hit the tables. I tell you what you don't want. I guarantee you what you do not want to happen in Las Vegas or pretty much anywhere on planet Earth is what happened to this gentleman. He was at the Venetian Hotel. He got in bed, and lo and behold, well, here's his side of the story.
I just felt like somebody stabbing me in my private area. I went to the restroom and I saw a scorpion. Everybody wasn't shocked. I mean, nobody believed. Even I couldn't believe it.
Okay, in case you missed that, he couldn't believe what he saw, which was a scorpion on his nutsack. It stung him.
Ow! No.
He has photographic evidence. He took a photo of it laying in his drawers, which he took off. I would imagine the scream of a man watching a scorpion sting his scrotum is one.
Yeah.
There's no mistaking it. Nobody on the floor heard that and thought, oh, gosh, I think someone stubbed his toe.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
boy.
someone dropped his milk. No one thought that.
Someone missed out on a big roulette spin or something like
totally
that. Just
different.
one off from Red 27.
Totally different timbre in that scream. The scream of a man being stung in the jewels by a scorpion is a precious and unique scream. I have to believe.
Can they sting multiple times once they do it? Can they just keep going?
I don't know. I don't think their stingers come off. I bet with a scorpion, they can just keep snapping right on the old.
Steve-O did that, I thought.
Oh, that's right, jackass.
Oh, you're right. It's like, here's another one for you.
Yeah, it just felt like something, because he said it felt like someone stabbing me multiple times.
They do sting multiple times. The venom is depleted with each sting. It's not like every one is the same dose. It's they have a certain amount of venom, and they can keep going back to the well, but eventually there's not going to be much there. The first sting... that's the Rod Stewart song, right? The first scorpion sting is the deepest. It's tough. The first sting is the one that really gets you. And in this gentleman's case, again, right there on the jewel sack. And he, the Venetian comped his room, which is literally the least they could do.
It's,
I think he's considering a lawsuit. Now, he is physically recovered. There's no damage as far as we know. This isn't the kind of story where they're going to go, and now he can't have children. I would understand it if he didn't want to ever be near an erection again. I just would be traumatized myself. Yeah. But the vague statement from the Venetian, the resort has protocols for all incidents, and we can confirm they were followed in this incident.
Okay.
Written by an intern.
A deer de-scorped the room. Must have been, I bet it was a female scorpion.
Give the guy $1 million in chips. You'll get them all back within a week. Trust me.
Hell, maybe from him. He might go down to the floor and get
that's
half
what I
of it
mean.
back.
Just give the guy just a bag full of chips and say, you are free to gamble as much as you like. You'll get it all back.
You're going to have people in the Venetian, real hardcore gamblers down on their luck, lost the nest egg, the whole thing, dropping a scorpion in their shorts at the Venetian.
There's not many things I would prefer to a scorpion in the shorts. That I wouldn't prefer to a scorpion in the shorts.
Right.
Around the same time, a woman in Phoenix found a rattlesnake in the backseat of her car. She and her boyfriend were tooling along. She pulled over into a rest area, and he went, there's a rattlesnake in the back seat. This was not just a regular rattlesnake. This was a diamondback rattlesnake, which is among the most venomous snake you can find in these here United States.
Yeah.
They called 911. They jumped out, opened the windows. He found a big tree branch and poked this snake to get it to leave the car. I'm a snake. I have a frenzied approach to snakes in the world, which is I don't go near them ever. I can't stand snakes. It's just born in me that I'm afraid of snakes. If I saw a rattlesnake in the back seat of my car, I can promise you this is exactly what would happen. I would calmly pull over, and I would calmly get out of the car, and I would deal with it. And then about 10 minutes after I was completely convinced the harm was out of the way, I would I would have a set of shakes overtake my body and an adrenaline rush, and that would last about 6 months. I'm born of traumatic experience. I'm good in a crisis. I mean, when the shit hits the fan, man, call Steve. I will literally. Okay, we have to do this. But when that's over, look out, man. I've had snake encounters and I handle them appropriately. But then I literally will sit there for hours and be nauseous and shaky and freaking out. And if it was a rattlesnake in my own car. First things first, the car's going off a cliff. There's no cleansing. No,
car on fire
I can't. I can't cleanse. I can't get it washed, and I also can't sell it to some other poor person. I'm not putting snake juju in someone else's car. I'm driving that car right to the Hoover Dam and going over.
See, that's what Dairy Queen is for. Calm you down, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a nice
blizzard.
soft serve. By the way, Milan Watt is her name. Here she is finding the snake in her car.
first a laugh and then panic. And I lost my mind. And he turned around and he had seen a tongue kind of like flipping at him. He's like, get out of the car. And so I freeze up because I'm like, when I get scared, I freeze. In a state where there's lots of critters and lots of things that can get into small spaces, personal spaces, to know what to do in that situation and who to call. We got real comfortable in that car. That snake made its home in there.
Well, it must have been those Diamondback seat covers she had. By the way, Diamondbacks out west have the reputation of being the most temperamental of all the rattlesnakes, of all the venomous snakes.
That's all I need.
Quick to strike. They've got that rattle. They'll give you a couple of rattles, but they don't give a lot of ground. That's it.
Oh, my God. All I know is I'm going to be eating a peanut butter parfait one day, and someone's going to go, oh, did you see a snake, Steve? He'll listen to her. Oh, man, he must have seen a snake. Back off. He's going to need a space right now. Well, I guess that begs the question, like you said, would you rather have a scorpion in your shorts or a diamondback rattlesnake in your car? I mean, the scorpion's not going to kill you. At least you have that. Now, it's going to freak you out, especially in such a sensitive area. It's going to really, that's going to rattle you a lot, but or do you want the rattlesnake in the back seat? I think, all things considered, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'd rather have the scorpion in my drawer.
I'm just going to take I feel like the car, I have some more space there. I know I'm kind of locked in behind the wheel there. You're not free to roam. But the scorpion's already in the shorts. The rattlesnake's in the car. She had a laugh and then freaked out. He had never at any point laughed. He went straight to screaming, and now he's telling his story because there may be a lawsuit. He's going to always be amongst his friends, the guy that got tagged in the nuts with the scorpion. I mean, how long would it take you to just fall asleep comfortably again after that? Sure as hell wouldn't happen in the desert.
Man,
I'd be headed back to Minnesota in a heartbeat, where scorpions don't hang out.
It's tough. These are thankfully, hopefully, the decisions we'll never have to make ever. Yeah. But on the list of all the would you rathers, the scorpion in the shorts or a snake in the back seat. Neither one's good. I think ultimately I would take the scorpion, though, because, like I said, I would know, even as it was biting my jewels, even as that horrible moment was happening, I wouldn't be thinking I might die. I might be thinking I might want to die, but I'm not going to die. That Diamondback, there's a chance you're going to die or lose a limb.
Well, you just got to play something cool on the radio, play some cool Zeppelin, maybe get the snake in a vibe, and he'll forget all about it.
I watch, because of my snake phobia and the fact that I don't turn away from snake content, my Instagram feed, Facebook feed, whatever, like I click on a couple snake videos and now that's all I get. Like if you go through my Instagram, there's accounts I follow, and then all those reels that show up that I don't follow, it's drumming lessons, like here's how you can make this. And I'm always like, oh, wow, that's cool. Or it's a guy with a cobra charming it. Or the other day it was a guy with a water hose just spraying a cobra. And the cobra was like, oh, this feels great. Thanks, man. And he's just blasting it right in the face with water. Yeah. And then he's rubbing it on the back of its head with his two fingers, and then massaging a little snake. It's a king cobra. Oh, God. Yeah. It's like 18 feet long and venomous. That's the worst of all. At least for the rattlesnake, it's not, it can't strike you from across the room. It's small and venomous, or a python is long and squeezes you. The cobra's both. Those things are huge and venomous, and it's got the hood, and it goes up, and then you're playing that little recorder. And trust me, I could still play Hot Cross Buns. I'm not charming a snake.
Yeah, they don't like that song.
Yeah, they don't use drums to charm snakes, do they? I got a feeling that would be.
And then bite, and then dead. And where's my mongoose? Yeah. Nowhere to be found.
Although, like this woman that lives in Arizona, home to the diamondback rattlesnake, I got a feeling if you lived in Arizona, you'd have a snake bite kit in a pistol holder on your hip.
I'd get like hiking boots, but they would be hiking pants. The whole boot would come up to like mid chest level. They would look like waders, but they would be like literally made out of like Kevlar. I wouldn't leave the house. Rosemary and I were in Sedona a few years ago. We went out to the red mountains of Sedona, Arizona. It just couldn't be more beautiful. And it was. And we were hiking every day. But, I mean, I was just on complete swivel head alert. I mean, just low simmering terror at all times. Just the idea that there's going to be, and I would say, like, I guarantee you within 100 square meters of where we stand, there's 500 snakes. I can tell.
Yeah.
I can feel them. They're all watching me.
Following along.
All right, I got to move off the. Okay, but okay. Here's a good question. Okay, not would you rather deal with a rattlesnake or a scorpion? Not would you rather deal with a great white shark or an orca? How about this? Would you rather be 10 minutes late for everything or 20 minutes early for everything for the rest of your life? 20 minutes early.
I'm an early guy. Yeah, no.
20 minutes is excessive, though. I hate sitting around and twiddling my thumbs.
But 10 minutes late is just galling.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. You got to make excuses.
I get mad. I mean, not necessarily at one particular person or a thing, but I just get mad in general if I'm late. I just get, I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I really, I don't like. I guess I've had so much time in my life where I was just waiting for something cool to happen that I'm more comfortable there. But being late, feeling rushed, feeling pressed, occasionally a great thing, almost, but that's a very occasional. I'd much rather be early, even if you say, okay, you're going to be 20 minutes early for every appointment, but you can't look at your phone, you can't have the radio. I'd still take it, because if you give me 20 minutes with nothing to do, I can happily sleep for 17 of those minutes, almost always.
I got a phone, for crying out loud. There's always some trouble I can get into on that. When I moved from Minneapolis to Montana back in 2017, we know what it's like to just get from point A to point B in Minneapolis, in the metro area. And I moved out to Bozeman, Montana, and was doing the old, oh, shoot, that's coming up in about an hour. I better get going. And suddenly I was like 45 minutes early to everything. It took me a while to just sort of, all right, dude, you literally can go from one end of this town and the other literally in 5 minutes. So, but it weirded me out, having been in the metro for so long, looking at the clock and going, well, the appointment's only 15 minutes away, but I'm not leaving yet because I'm going to be too early. Yeah, so no, I'll take early. There's things to do.
Had a whole conversation yesterday because I was going in. I had a procedure done on my eyes. My eyes were dilated. They're still a little dilated. I'm still seeing fuzzy, but it's going to be great. So here's something that came up yesterday, because of course I'm thinking, what if this is the day that everything goes wrong? You know, like, what if I can't help but think about it. Like, what if I lost my sight? And this age-old question goes back to childhood with me and my brothers. Would you rather lose your sight or your hearing?
No.
And by the way, and maybe this is because I had a grandfather who was blind. I was around a blind man as a kid, and he seemed okay. He wasn't, I'm sure it was not the greatest for him after he lost his sight, but that was something I was familiar with. But as a kid, I used to say, and I've never changed, I think I couldn't lose my hearing. That would be the worst thing ever. Because there's music I got to hear, but then just conversation and interacting with people, I would miss voices way more than faces. That's me.
Okay.
I already know what you look like, Tony. I mean, and you're only going to get worse.
I know. It's haunting.
With every day, if I don't see Tony's face anymore, but I still hear that voice, I'm going to feel okay.
You're right.
Yeah. That's me. Call me crazy. Anybody else?
I would, music is kind of the big thing.
Tough one to go without, isn't it?
But, I think would be the hardest is going blind or going deaf. I mean, if you're born, I don't know. It's like that would be like so insane to deal with.
I spent an inordinate amount of time as a kid thinking about Helen Keller and how in the world somebody born without sight or hearing could ever be made to understand anything about human life.
Right.
I just don't get that on any level. I've always, when I read the Helen Keller story or a children's version of that, I spent many, many, many hours just going, okay, I get the breakthrough. Wah wah, hand on the throat. I get it. The Annie did the thing, and it was great. How in the world, though, would you and then you read the things Helen Keller wrote, like her understanding of humanity and of people and of society. Like, how? What am I missing? What a brilliant, insightful person. I just don't get it, man. I learn things and forget things like on a daily basis. This woman just had it all figured out, and she never saw or heard a damn thing. I just don't get it. Incredible.
Crazy.
Totally crazy. Helen Keller's such a drag in the morning, isn't it? Wow, we just brought that thing right to a screeching halt. All right, so here's last Would You Rather. And for the obvious perverts out there, would you rather be able to fly, and I mean fly like Superman, like just turn and boom.
Yeah, yeah.
Or have perfect invisibility whenever you like.
Oh, invisible. Yeah.
See, all the perverts go right for invisible.
Yeah.
You want to eavesdrop and you want to observe.
Yeah.
Steal stuff.
Crazy people.
Right? No, fly, man, fly. Yeah, just think how that would revolutionize your life in every way. Or you could
Brian, trust me. We totally get the cool thing about flight. I want to know why Candace is still laughing at the concept of invisibility.
Yeah.
Why you want to fly? I mean, I think it's probably harder than it seems. It's probably like annoying.
Superman.
No, I'm saying when I say you can fly, you just turn and go, man, boom. Or you just turn and disappear, leave a clump of clothes behind.
I bet you guys could fly. You'd end up being too lazy to fly.
You're invisible. Hop on a plane anytime you want.
That's like I get here Petty's original
but you wouldn't have
draft.
any place to sit. Have you been on a plane in a while? They don't have a lot of extra seats. You'd just be hanging out, I guess.
Sit on somebody.
Oh, you mean like... So you mean like from a terrorist point of view?
Well,
take
of course.
it out. Okay. No, that would come in handy.
What benefits? What would be a true benefit of having invisibility? I mean, other than malfeasance, yes, like you said, you could steal stuff.
Right.
You can get away with things. You can spy on people. But what happens good? I mean, I guess you could foil crime.
Naked.
You're naked, but no one can see you.
Exactly.
What can you do that's beneficial?
I used to be naked all the time.
How do you help? Do you foil crime? Do you stumble upon crime in progress, and then suddenly the guy with the gun is getting his ass kicked, and he can't see who's doing it? Mm-hmm. No, because he might fire an errant bullet that can still hit you, even though you're invisible.
You know that now that you
last I checked my superhero, rule book.
You're right, Steve. It sounds pretty depressing to be invisible. No one would ever know me or see me or care about me.
Yeah, I mean...
You could whisper in their ear.
I mean, that's like a psychosomatic thing. People that are sad try to make themselves invisible to others to cry for help. People that want to fly, we're bold, we're bad, we're cool.
No, you're escaping things just quicker.
I just said it.
That's
Tony
right.
said it. I just copied Tony. I want to do whatever Tony does.
Tony wants to be able to fly while invisible.
I want to dance.
Yeah, that's like Wonder Woman's plane. You wouldn't be able to do everything that Tony's doing because you wouldn't be able to see him to mimic him. Yeah,
so
shoot holes in this all day long.
These are the tough decisions adults have to make every now and again.
I could make either one work, I guess.
Sure you can.
I mean, but you're right. You're talking about flying. I was just like, I'm not a big flyer. I mean, I do it all the time, but I don't like it. But concerts, guess who's going to the front row? So now I'm starting to see some benefits here.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, lines, I hate lines. You're never in a line again. Suddenly you're in the front of the line, but then you would have to make yourself, visible to, take advantage of whatever you want to jump in line. But like I said, you're front row at everything.
Yeah, man. Okay.
Not bad.
A lot to think about. Food for thought for sure.
Now you've got me. My brain is just scrambled. I don't know where to go from here. But we're going somewhere, and I hope you're going with us. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, March 6th. That was Journey, Wheel in the Sky. The first single the band released was Steve Perry as their vocalist. The first single the band released that charted. I don't think that was a coincidence. It's not every day a really good band upgrades like that. You go from what they were to having that guy singing. It's not a surprise that they then pretty much took over the world. Next week at Acme Comedy Club, the 14th, 15th, and 16th, my buddy Dean Delray is going to be there. I can't wait to see him in person. He's calling in right now. He's on the horn. Dean, good morning, brother.
Man, Wheel in the Sky, dude.
Yeah, you're a Bay Area guy. I imagine you saw Journey as a kid several times.
I saw him on that tour. It was the first tour with Steve Perry.
Yep.
1978. They played at Day on the Green, and this was the bill. There was Cheap Trick, AC/DC, Journey, Boris the Cult, Ted Nugent.
Oh, my God. Oh my God! Who won the day? Look to the young Dean. Who'd you walk away the most blown away by?
Well, yeah, I went to go see Ted Nugent because he was huge at the time.
Sure.
You know? But I was blown away, of course, by AC/DC.
Yeah, I bet.
But all of them. I listen to all those bands right now to this day.
Mm-hmm.
They all kill, you know. It's amazing to think, like, you see that concert, and then here we are 100 years later and still love the music.
Oh, sure. At that time, too, nobody on earth would have thought. I mean, you could look at the biggest artists of the day. I mean, like in 1978, Fleetwood Mac, or on the pop side, I guess Elton John was at his apex, or whoever you name. And if someone threw out the year 2024, that was Twilight Zone era. There's no way we would have thought these bands or music would still matter on any level.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think I would be alive.
Yeah. Well, of course. Hey,
You know?
so have you seen Journey with Arnel Pineda, the guy that's been singing with them now for a long time? I still think of him as their new singer, but I think he's been with them since 2008 or something. Have you seen him before?
Yeah, I saw him at Madison Square Garden. It was Journey, Def Leppard about, I guess, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they were great, but I'll tell you, Def Leppard blew my mind. I was like, wow.
Oh, really?
Like Joe Elliott just sounded unreal. And yeah, they were both great, actually. But, man, Def Leppard right now killing it at the top of the game still.
Yeah, that's true. They're I think they're coming back here this summer. That's just kind of what they do. Just every summer, we'll just go play more and more stadiums for more and more people.
Yeah. I know. I've told myself I'm good. I've seen all these bands 20, 30 times. You know, I'm good.
Dean Del Rey is at Acme Comedy Club next weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 14, 15, and 16. You've seen as many gigs, concerts, or more than, honestly, of everybody I know. I mean, when we talk about gigs, you've been seeing so many for so long. Who have you not seen yet? Who's still on your list that you got to see? Or is there anyone?
Getting ready to see Peter Frampton. I have not seen Frampton, so Bill Burr and I, we tour together all over the place, and we're like, all right, let's go see Frampton. They're playing at the Greek here in L.A.
Nice.
And I haven't seen Frampton, and I haven't seen Paul McCartney. Each time I'm on tour,
really? Okay.
When he comes to town. So I got to see Paul McCartney because I realized the top 5 favorite song of all time for me is Band on the Run.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up poor, and my mom would drop me off at the public pool. It was like 75 cents, and that was my babysitter, the public pool. And that year, Band on the Run was a huge song, and I just love that song, man.
Well, hey, I
love all that stuff.
I'll tell you right now, Dean, if you go see McCartney, he's got at least 4 or 5 songs you've heard before, maybe even 6.
Yeah, it's funny because I was always a Stones guy. For some reason, it's like Stones or the Beatles. Well, how about both? But it's just never like that growing up. But after that Peter Jackson documentary, I was like, all right, I'm in 100%, man. You know
what I thought watching it? Well, I thought a million things because that's my lifelong everything to me was always started. The Alpha and the Omega is the Beatles. Everything in between is in between. But 8 hours of watching those 4 people in a studio, I don't think there's another band ever that the average music fan would even contemplate sitting through because they were just such characters. Their personalities were so perfectly aligned, and the chemistry between the 4 of them, whether they were playing music or not, lent itself. It's such a big part of why they were so special. I just don't know that and I love the late 60s, early 70s Stones, but I wouldn't want to watch them for 8 hours trying to put records together. I just don't think it would be nearly as compelling.
Well, I watched that, and the thing I got out of it, 2 things I got out of it. One of it was 8 hours of these guys eating toast.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of toast.
They're total millionaires at the time, and they're eating toast.
Yeah.
And the other one is they argue so elegantly, you don't even notice that, George Harrison quits, and I backed it up like 10 times, like, wait, where did it go wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when one day he's in the band, the next day he goes, I guess I'll just leave the band.
Yeah, and I love his parting line, see you around the clubs. And you're like, oh, they're going to go to the club. Oh, that's fun. They're going to go around to the clubs and see each other.
I had no idea he quit. I was like, I kept looking at my buddy like, hey, back it up, man. And then they're like, we got to go get him back in the band. It was amazing, man.
Yeah,
that band is
the connection between John and Paul is also so striking. When either one of them is putting a new idea forward, the first thing each guy is doing is looking at the other guy just to get a read, and they don't even know they're doing it. They're so in tune and they're so ready for a compliment or a correction or a direction, or they were just, even at that era when we think of them as at their last legs, but creatively they were still so aligned. That's what I took away from it. You were a musician full-time for 25 years before you went into comedy. We've all been making music and doing things with a lot of various people for years. There are so few moments that I related to, but that one of the room, all the unspoken stuff between band members, you don't even realize how much you're looking for in the way of feedback. And watching John and Paul still act like that was really moving to me. It just showed how completely connected those two guys were. And all their nonsense aside, nobody hesitated to jump on a good idea. They could be angry and arguing, but then it's like, ooh, that sounds good. What's that? It was amazing.
Yeah. Also, what I took away from it, you being a drummer, but I wish I had a Ringo the whole time who wasn't back there, just do. Every time you're trying to come up with an idea or song, the drummer's usually going pop, 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 boop, 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 pop, pop, and you're going like, dude, go outside and have a cigarette, Ringo would just sit there all strung out looking.
The Black Crowes had a session in 2000 in New York City. We were making a record, and our friends from a Welsh rock band called Stereophonics were in town, and they came by the session just to say, hey, check it out. We invited them over. And when they walked in the room, we were working on a new tune, and it was like it is just an idea had popped up, and it was really just the three of us, me and the Robinson brothers, and we're just going over ideas and talking, and Rich is playing something, Chris is singing something. We're just kind of working out a new idea, and when it was all said and done, we came up with a pretty cool song. And I said to the guy, Kelly, the singer in Stereophonics, I said, oh, that was kind of cool, I guess. Good timing on your part. I said, how impressive was that? I mean, I'm kind of just joking. And he looked at me and he goes, that was very impressive. I said, oh, what do you mean? He goes, you didn't hit the drums once. If I had a drummer like that, I could take over the world. And I was like, he didn't care about the song. He didn't care about the melody. He didn't care about anything. He was like, oh, my God, to be in a room with a drummer who isn't hitting them all day long, it would be like vacation.
Oh, man, touring with the drummers the worst, like on airplanes, when they're just beating on the guy's seat, and the poor guy in front of him's got first class, and he's getting the bongo hit by the drummer. Oh, my God. My drummer had like a practice pad in his car, and while we were driving, he'd be like beating on the thing. Man, it's total bam bam.
Not me, man. I never had that. I'm the worst. If someone isn't playing a guitar next to me, I got no time for it. I'm bored to tears sitting at a drum kit. Every time I got gigs coming up, I set up I'm like, all right, I'm going to go in there and practice. Yeah, I give it a good 10 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, come on. This is killing me. Dean Delray is at Acme next week. This is your first time headlining Acme Comedy Club, which is that's a definite line in the sand. Once you get there, you've crossed a bit of a Rubicon. That's got to be pretty exciting for you.
Oh my God! I was dying to do it for 10 years. It's a great town, and the comedy club Acme has such a great reputation. Mm-hmm. So when you're a comedian, you're looking to click off these fantastic venues in your career, and when you finally get into one, that's why I keep begging you to do radio. I'm like, I gotta pack this thing because I want to come back. Well, and I'm fired up.
It's funny you say that because just like musicians, there's venues you hear about you want to play. I mean, like when you're starting out, CBGB for like our generation in New York, the Fillmore West out in San Francisco still exists. You've got these venues you want to tick off. You mentioned earlier, you and Bill Burr do a lot of dates together. You guys are very good buddies. Burr got to a level a few years ago where suddenly he's doing all the gigs musicians think about. Madison Square Garden, the Boston Garden, Red Rocks. And the coolest thing I ever heard a comedian do, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Burr did Madison Square Garden and brought in backline, and what would normally be a sound check, he had some buddies come up that he used to play music with, and they all jammed at Madison Square Garden.
That was me. We
Nice.
I did the Garden with him, but we do venues, some of the iconic venues, and like LA Forum, and we bring in gear. Like we did the Forum, and Conan O'Brien came down and played with us, and Conan played guitar.
Yeah.
And Conan killed it, man. He played Creep by Radiohead, and then he did a lot of stuff like Stray Cats Rock This Town and Elvis Presley. And Conan was burning it up, man. It was Burr on drums, me singing. And,
I've heard Conan can really play, and we did the Conan show a bunch of times, but he would never pick up a guitar around the quote unquote real bands. But I've heard from other people he's actually pretty good.
Oh man, and he's there's a photo of us. You can see it online somewhere, and I'm 5'6" on a good day. Conan looks like a skyscraper next to me. It was the weirdest looking band ever,
So who's the all-star comedy band of all the working comedians out there? Who are the ringers right now? Who would you put in your band?
It would be Conan for sure. Guitar, Burr on drums, fantastic. Yeah. I have not met a bass player comedian yet, which is interesting. We always have to bring in like Mike Inez from Alice in Chains, or we had Michael Devin from Whitesnake play, but there's no comedian bass player, which is interesting. And then I do the singing usually. There's a lot of comedians that play. Marin plays guitar.
Yeah.
Steve Agee, who's a fantastic comedian out in LA, but mostly does a lot of TV. He plays. Fred Armisen plays. There's a lot of guys that play. So at any given night, you could put together a comedian band, which is hilarious.
It's funny. I think about you and Fred together, two guys who were longtime musicians who then made the leap. He obviously went sketch comedy more than stand-up and has had a great career with that. But there's so much common ground, I think, in the young developing brains of so many musicians and comedians. The Venn diagram is really full. There's a lot of common stuff there. I'm sure you heard this the other day, Dean, that Bob Heil passed away, the guy that invented the talk box.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking just earlier on the show. Just what a bizarre. I mean, it's a sound and a vibe that any listener to this station's heard on music and songs over the years. But to actually play a talk box, it's one of the weirdest things ever. When you see someone get their mouth around that tube and just start going, it still is. It always makes me think of a medical procedure, like a tube going down the throat is what it looks like. It's wild.
That, speaking of Frampton, man, that thing made his career.
Yeah, sure did. When's that Frampton gig?
Yeah. Oh, you went to that?
No, I'm saying when are you going to see Frampton?
Oh, I'm going to see Frampton in 2 months at the Greaser outdoors. Yeah, I met Frampton before at Starbucks, and it was hilarious because I was standing in line, and he turned around, and I was like, Frampton? He's like, yeah. And I was like, I was so blown away, because that's not like a guy you see around town.
Yeah, right.
And so then I went outside and I was having my coffee with another comedian. He came out and he was hanging out for a few minutes. And I go, I got to get a photo with this guy. So I go, hey, man, mind if I get a photo? And he gave me the Heisman. He was like, nah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow. Denied by Frampton.
I promise you, when you see him, though, that's one of those guys. The first time I heard him play, and it was like it feels weird to say this because it would seem obvious, but what I was blown away by was the second he started playing, if you had your eyes closed, there's no mistaking who he is. He's his tone, his touch, his feel. It's so clearly Frampton. I'm envious that you're going to see him for the first time because it is a great thing. Dean Delray is at Acme next weekend, Thursday the 14th, Friday the 15th, Saturday the 16th. It's a great night. I would encourage everybody to go check out Dean Del Rey. I know for a fact I'm going on Thursday night. That's the only night I have available, but I've already, I've got it written in stone, in ink, and I'm looking forward to it. Last thing first, or first thing last, or whatever. Your podcast, Let There Be Talk. Who's the latest? Who's the next one? Give me some big names like right now people can find on your pod.
Okay, well, let's see. I just had Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age on, who's one of my favorite humans ever, man. That guy, if you have not seen Queens of the Stone Age live, do yourself a favor.
Yeah, blistering.
And then I recently re-released the AC/DC episode. I'm the only guy that's ever had AC/DC on the podcast. So we re-released that because it's the 50-year anniversary of AC/DC. You can find John Mayer on there. You can find Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, and also, rest in peace, the great Bill Paxton. I had this last interview ever before he passed, and we released that recently again.
Right.
So there's 730 episodes. You name it. I've had everybody but Frampton, and
it's pretty true.
I'm still working on getting Peter Frampton.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with that, Dean. I can't wait to see you next week, brother. Thanks for calling.
Oh, yeah, and I'm going to come in the studio next Friday.
All right, come on. Hell yeah, bring it.
Yeah.
We're here. We got a chair. I'm looking at your chair right now.
Do you guys have morning snacks, or are you one of those poor stations?
No.
Usually the comedians bring in.
The guest. That's on you, brother. You surprise us, okay?
If you want to get back to Acme next year.
Everybody jumped in on that one, like, "Hey, man, bring us some stuff."
No, I mean, Candace just, I don't know if you're, says, if you want to get to Acme again next year, you better impress us this year. So you come heavy or don't come at all, as Tony Soprano would say.
Oh, I'm bringing it, man. I don't eat any junk, but I'll bring you guys some jelly-filled donuts.
There you go.
That's my old favorite.
All right, nothing like a plan. Thanks, brother. We'll see you soon.
I love you guys.
All right, see you. Dean Del Rey, that is a very funny man, and also, for what it's worth, truly the salt of the earth. I love that man to death.
Yeah, that was great. I love listening to you guys chat. I felt like I was in the booth, next to you guys right now, just kind of eavesdropping in on a great conversation.
Like as if you were invisible?
As if I was invisible.
Oh, look at that.
See, it's
if
called
you don't mind, I'm going to fly out of here right now.
It's even better. We're buttoning this bad boy up. Let's look back. How about a quick history lesson?
Now it's time to learn.
It's time to learn a lesson that the Los Angeles Clippers learned on this day in 2000, which is do not piss off Shaquille O'Neal, especially on his birthday. The Clippers and the Lakers played each other. They also share an arena at this time, the Staples Center. It was a Clippers home game. So Lakers center Shaquille O'Neal, because it was his birthday, had a large guest list. And he asked the Clippers to provide him with accommodations. Will you guys give me a section of seats because it's my birthday? And, of course, the crosstown rival Clippers were like, go suck wind, dude. We're not giving you. You're the Lakers. We're the Clippers. The answer is no. He went out there before tip-off and said, I'm going to make you pay for that. 61 points and 23 rebounds later.
Wow.
He destroyed the Clippers. And after the game, he literally at the podium said, don't ever make me pay for tickets. That's a lesson for the rest of the league. I'm sorry, man. That's just funny. That's just good shtick. When Shaquille was pissed, Shaquille was unstoppable. Lou Ottens, on this day in 2021, passed away. He was 94. Who was Lou Ottens? He invented the cassette tape. So I just want to simply say, Lou, I don't know who the hell you were. I never heard your name before today, but thank you, my man. I appreciate that. The cassette tape of Synchronicity that I stole from a classmate in 1983, boy, I got a lot of enjoyment out of that. So really, cheers to you, brother.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.